It is not unusual to compare baptism to a wedding ring, and I like this comparison, so let's dig into it. The wedding ring is the outward proof that you are married, so that everyone can see. And it's a reminder to you and to everyone else that you belong to someone, and you should stay true to that someone. But what happens if you take off the wedding ring? Are you not married then? Well, of course you are. Marriage is not just a ring. And everyone who has been married knows that it takes a lot more than a ring to have a working marriage. And so far, we should all agree. You can't say in a marriage, "Hey, I have the wedding ring, so everything is fine." And likewise with baptism, you can't say, "Hey, I've been baptized, so everything is fine." You can't say this because just as in a marriage, we are called into a relationship. Now, the division comes when people say that because you are still married if you take the wedding ring off, then that proves that the wedding ring is not what makes you married. This is where they are wrong, because in many cultures, it is actually the ring that seals the promise. With this ring, I thee wed. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you put on that ring, you got married legally. That's how you got married. You put on the ring. And you cannot undo it by taking off the ring. And for you to better understand how heavy the effects of this wedding ring is, we can compare it to the wedding certificate, because when you put on that ring, a legal paper was also put into effect. And this legal paper affects your marital status, it affects how you are taxed, it affects what will happen in case of divorce, it affects you, it affects your name, it affects your spouse, it affects your children. And the effects take place at once. And they do not disappear if you decide to burn the certificate. So this certificate carried with it tremendous effects. But from then on, this piece of paper and this piece of metal becomes nothing more than just reminders that this has happened. The promise has been made. And I'm not only talking about your promise to God, because in a wedding, you place your ring on your spouse, not on yourself. And this is a promise to this person as a token on that person, that that person belongs to you. And I think it's fair to view baptism the same way. Baptism is God's promise to you, and it is a sign given to you from God's part that you belong to Christ. At the same time, as we know that baptism is a funeral act where you are buried together with Christ, we should most logically then liken baptism to a death certificate. The reason why it's so good to liken baptism to a wedding ring is because baptism unites us to Christ, and it unites us to Him in His death. But in relation to this world, baptism is much more like a death certificate. We are declared dead, and I bet that that counts for something just as strong. That is also a legal affair, affecting taxes and property and marital status. Maybe not in your country, but in another country, let's say the heaven country, or in North Korea or China. And so, just as a ring cannot save a wrecked marriage, so in the same way, dying with Christ in baptism does not save you. Being forgiven is not all it takes to be saved. For we are called not just to die with Christ, but also to live with Him. When He tells us to come to Him, we really need to obey. And we have the Spirit to help us do that. The Spirit helps us stay true to Christ and to not commit adultery. The fruit of the Spirit in your everyday life is the outward sign of the inward reality. This is the proof to the world of where your loyalty lies. At least it's like that in Sweden, because in my country most people are already baptized. And we are not persecuted for being baptized, but instead we are persecuted for standing up as Christians. I want to make a final note here. Back in the days of Jesus, and even in our days in some places, the betrothal is actually the most important part in the process of becoming married. That would be the moment when the covenant promises are exchanged, when the rings are exchanged. So when the Bible talks about a betrothal, then that sort of have the same weight as we would say the vows in the church. I just wanted you to know that in case you read in the Bible that we are betrothed to Christ, and when it speaks of a coming wedding, because there seems to be a coming wedding, and yes, Jesus is coming back. So God bless you and keep reading the Bible.